What's going on, guys? It's Kyle with DTOM Knives and Gear, and today I'm finally ready to do the review of the Liong Mah Field Duty EDC. Now, guys, if you've watched my channel for the last little while, you'll know that I'm a huge fan of Liong Mah as a maker. I did have the wonderful opportunity to meet him over at Blade Show this year, 2021, and I purchased this directly from him at Blade Show. So I'm a huge fan of him. I'm a huge fan of his knives. Now, not all of his models are, up my alley, but every single one that I have handled has been just pristine quality, because he has his knives made by Riot, which is one of my favorite manufacturers as far as overseas is concerned. They just do an excellent job. So I like the guy. I like the knives. Now, he has a lot of models, like flipper only models, and I want to get my hands on some of those. Even though I'm not usually a flipper only guy, I love a whole deployment. Now, he's got a line of knives that are whole deployment knives that I'm going to go ahead and say, make a bold statement here, are the best whole deployment actions on the market. It's just the way I feel. Everything that I have purchased from him, which I now have 3 Liong Mah designs, they have all had like the best detent for a whole deployment knife. You probably have seen the reviews on the Koof 4.0. If you haven't, check them out. This is the Koof 4.0, and then of course my favorite knife in my collection right now. And I have some really high-end knives now. But this is a high-end production knife. This Field Duty, the regular Field Duty version, is seriously my favorite knife in the collection. I cannot put this knife down. Anytime that I want to pick something from my own collection to carry, it really has been this. As far as production knives go, this has been my absolute favorite. And this video is not about this knife. It's about the Field Duty EDC. But this is what brought me into the fold for Liong Mah Designs. And so then I went down a rabbit hole, and I've gotten these other ones. And I wanted to buy this Field Duty EDC a long time ago. But I knew that I was going to Blade Show, and I knew he was going to be there. So I wanted to buy directly from him. So that was just a wonderful, amazing experience to meet, talk with him. He's just a super cool guy. I have had one of these on the channel before, but it was a left-handed version. Another great thing that I think Liong Mah is just killing it for is because he actually does offer left-handed version of some of his knives. So if you're a lefty and you want a dedicated lefty knife, they make this in a full lefty variation. Lefty EDC, my brother, you all know and love. Kevin bought one of these in lefty configuration and sent it to me, and I did a left-handed carry challenge, carrying a left-handed dedicated knife in my right pocket and using it right-handed. Holy crap, that sucked. I totally feel for you guys. It was horrible. I really feel, wow. Anyways, I still, having the knife in the hand, doing it for that purpose, not really doing a review of the knife, fell in love with the knife. So now I have the right-handed version, thank God, and okay, so what are we working with? It's like the Koof 4.0, where we have a monoblock construction, which both of mine are in carbon fiber, but you can get them in G10. This is the carbon fiber. Come on, camera. Do your job, bitches. Come on, Jesus. Carbon fiber, L-Max steel, and a titanium frame lock with a titanium pocket clip and a ceramic ball in the pocket clip, which I really, really love. He's done that on the other versions as well. He's got the same kind of pocket clip. The actual Field Duty is a little bit different. This is a spear point blade, which I really love. Call it kind of like the leaf shaped blade, really. That blade shape is my favorite. So you got this one and this one, very similar blade shapes, just one is a little bit smaller. And you guys know me, that I prefer knives this size and this size. But I'm going to go ahead and say, if you want a whole deployment knife, if you haven't tried a Liong Mah product, I urge you to save the money, because they're not the cheapest knives. They're made by Riot with quality materials. To save the money and to get one. And the reason is because you won't want to go back to something like a spider hole deployment or Spyderco knife with hole deployment, or any other knife for that matter. I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that probably, but there is no better middle finger flicking knife than a Liong Mah design. And why is that? Well, dang it. All right, so I forgot to turn the do not disturb sign on, so you might be hearing a vibrate. Sorry, Kevin's going to kill me. So what makes it so great? It really is the detent. So the detent that is done with his designs at Riot is hands down the best in the business. This thing is the snappiest hole deployment knife, or sorry, not just this, the other ones that I have from Liong Mah is the snappiest hole deployment knife in existence. I know I'm going crazy, but seriously, it's my favorite. If you haven't experienced it, you need to. That's what makes these knives shine. But it's not the only thing. The actual design themselves, this very neutral yet very comfortable grip with a very generous finger troll, which I like. Some people don't like finger trolls because it takes away from the blade length. That's fine if that's your personal preference. This is something that I enjoy on a knife every time. If I can get a finger troll, I'm going to do that. Just as an example, the Koenig Arius, I did choose to get the flipper delete with the finger troll because that's what I enjoy. And, you know, also one of my favorite knives, but I carry this more because I love it so much. But this thing, smaller version of the Feild Duty, that's why they call it the Feild Duty EDC, and is, as far as a cutting companion that has nice materials, wonderful action, you can't really beat it. There are other knives that are in this size range, that are in this price range, and I would pick this every day of the week. If I was to lose this knife or this knife, leave it somewhere, fall out of my pocket when I'm at the land, I would the next day buy one to have in the collection. These are forever knives for me. And the reason they're forever knives is because they work so well for me. This is probably, all right, so when you're talking about blade geometry, it's a taller blade, full flat grind, and 13 thousandths behind the edge. It cuts well. It does what a knife's supposed to do. It is one of the most comfortable knives that I have put in my hand to do work with. And then, of course, it's also very fun to play with. You have this whole deployment where I always use the middle finger, but you can use the index finger flick. You can do the thumb flick, which I'm just horrible at. I'm just not very good at using a hole for the thumb. A lot of people are, I am not, so I don't ever use the thumb. Sometimes I can even, do this number, hold it upside down, just because if I can do that, when I'm playing with my knives, it just is fun. So one of those things where, yeah, doing this right here just makes me happy. But you can deploy it, and the detent tuned to perfection for it. The closing action is absolutely super smooth, falls onto your thumb, and then at this position, it does not fall all the way shut. I usually just do that. That action is a different action than what I'm used to with my Feild Duty. This Feild Duty has that superb sound, action, deployment, detent, blah, blah, blah. But this one falls and has the best action on the knife, period. That's including the Arius, that's including the 2.0, the Evolution 2.0. I like this action better. I know I'm making it more about the Feild Duty than I am the Feild Duty EDC. But that's the difference between these two. They're both running on bearings, but the Feild Duty itself has the most superb closing action ever. This one is not drop shutty like the other one, but it is very satisfying and very, very smooth. I love the fact that he goes with this monoblock construction on these knives. The construction on the Feild Duty is a carbon fiber titanium frame lock, bolster lock, whatever you want to call it. And then on the Feild Duty EDC, it's this monoblock with either G10 or carbon fiber. And I love that design. I love the a huge thick chunk of carbon fiber that they use and mill all the way down to make this As you can see, it replaces like a backspacer. It does have a lanyard tube for you lanyard guys. Has a little bit of jimping on the back, which I have not noticed is near as bad. The only gripe that I have about this guy is the jimping on this guy in that same location is actually rather sharp. And so when you're putting your hand in your pocket where this is in there, it kind of scrapes it a little bit. This one is not as bad, and that's the only complaint I have about this knife. And I don't usually, or I never put anything in my pocket other than my primary folder when it goes there, so it doesn't bother me. But a lot of people are not like that, and they put other stuff in there, so keep that in mind. This one is much more subdued as far as the jimping, and it does help with a little bit of grip. As you can see, it's not a huge knife, it's a smaller knife, but in the backed up grip, I can still get 4 fingers on it, barely. And you know, the jimping, the Liong Mah jimping, the jimping that he does on these knives is really some of the best. I really like it because it is what you would say the one directional. I think the Razorback jimping is what it's commonly called, even though I don't think Leon is the one who called it that. Because when you have it on your thumb moving this way, it gives you the grip, but moving back this way, it doesn't give you as much grip. I really, really like that. It goes up super high, so no matter what grip I have my thumb on the jimping to help with that, and it locks you in. You know, not with the jimping, but it locks you in with the ergonomics right here. I mean, there's no finger guard or anything like that, but whenever I'm in this forward shoal grip, I mean, I am locked in. I don't think you'll be able to ever get this out of somebody. I mean, how often does that happen? Never. But as far as a work knife and, you know, doing things, even when my hands were a little sweaty because it's summertime here in Alabama and holy mother of pearl is it hot, I didn't find myself slipping off because, yes, you have slick materials for this, carbon fiber and slick G10, no milling, nothing like that, no texturing. But I don't feel that I need it because it's so locked in with the ergonomics. So that is great. The other portion of the action or deployment that I love is the hole design that he has in these things. So this is a LMAX blade. It is a stonewash. So around this hole, it is very smooth, no sharp edges. But the whole design itself just makes you can kind of go here, you can go here, whichever is more, gives you more leverage for your hand size and hand position. It just makes it, as you can see right there. I tried to go up here, but see, I usually go down there and flick the knife out. But then I know some other people that have had this knife who actually goes further up, and it actually gives it a little bit more of a thwack, I believe, just because of where the leverage is. But oh, I could sit there and do this all day. Liong Mah designs are the best for fidgeting as far as a hole deployment, in my opinion. I know I've already said that, but I can't stress enough, guys. It's like it's a sleeper. I just don't see as many people with Liong Mah designs, and I'm not sure why. If I only had to keep 3 knives for tools and play, it would be these. I mean, I have other knives that I would never want to get rid of. But I'm telling you, like, if I just had to pick tools that does what I want to do, I don't think I would rebuy other knives if I lost them like I would if I had these. Maybe this one, the Koof, is my one of my favorite knives in the collection as well. As far as compared to these two, that's really a hard question because the Koof is more my size. It does not, however, have the thwack like the EDC does, even though it has a thwack better than most. So if I had to really pick between these two, I love the size of the Koof, but I love the ergonomics and blade shape of the EDC, the Field Duty EDC. But they do make a Koof 3.0, which is a smaller version of this. I like the bigger knives. This thing is, it's the kitchen utility folder, so I use it for food prepping a lot. But as far as a lightweight EDC, smaller knife, you cannot go wrong with this guy. Like I said, the G10 versions, you'll pay about $309. For the carbon fiber, you'll pay about $369. So Does that hurt a little? Yeah. I mean, it's not the most affordable knife or even the most value knife. However, would I pay it? I would pay it every day of the week because they are so very good. So on the Field Duty, you have M390 and then all of those wonderful other materials. And then on the Koof and on the Field Duty, you have LMAX steel, which I am a huge fan of LMAX steel. And so, I just... I really want people to try them, okay? Just try them if you haven't. Of course, I will have his website linked down below where you can go check him out. He's got quite a few models, but my most recommended for anybody looking for a Liong Mah would obviously be the Field Duty, and not just the Field Duty, but the Field Duty in this configuration with the bolster lock. He has a full titanium frame lock version that I have not tried, but this particular version is 100% the best knife that I have in my collection. And then, of course, the EDC being the smaller boy, a little bit different construction. So we've already talked about ergonomics. How does it carry? Ugh. I love this pocket clip. Now, it's not exactly the deepest carry, but I believe it's deep enough for most everybody's purposes. I mean, unless you were just die hard deep. But this particular pocket clip goes in and out of the pocket really well. You've got a nice amount of area here. The ceramic ball goes over the pocket and out of the pocket. Really nice. I've been really enjoying that. The only other time that I had a ceramic ball in the pocket clip was whenever I had the... Todd Begg Bodega. And that was the first time I'd ever had a ceramic ball in a pocket clip, and it worked really good, and I'm really happy that Liong has been doing that with these things. I will say that the lock bar pressure, one of the reasons he's probably doing lefty, even though, other than the fact that he wants to do lefty knives, is the lock bar pressure on this guy, when I'm in my left hand, it does lock it up because of the position of my hand. So lefties out there, get the left-handed version. Righties out there, the right-handed version, because it won't be any problem. But left-handed, this knife does lock up when you put pressure on the lock bar, just like a lot of other knives. But I can use it. I mean, most of the time, if I'm doing something with my right hand and I've got this knife, I'll just do the pinch grip and roll it out to do what I've got to do. But that's a very rare occasion. So anyway, that's the carry. It's excellent. The reason it's excellent is because of that pocket clip and it's lightweight. It's titanium and carbon fiber. We'll do specs in a minute whenever I turn the camera around. The hardware is nice. You don't have a lot going on like you do on the regular Field Duty as far as milling on the pivot. They're standard but oversized, and I love that oversized pivot, lock bar insert, all that good stuff that you want to find in a high quality, high quality production knives. Oh, I can't talk today. That's all the stuff that you want to find, and you find it in this. So, how does it cut? Okay, so we've already talked about it a little bit, but I want to show you. So, you've got very nice full flat grind, 13 thousandths behind the edge, and that translates to a cardboard cutting machine. Probably, as far as comfort and blade geometry, one of the best as far as processing cardboard. Hardly any resistance. Now, what about something like paracord, stuff that we might cut on a daily basis, weekly basis? There is, sorry, I was in the choil. There's not really any resistance when you're talking about the paracord. The cuts are clean. It is just, hardly anything that has to pass through with that very thin grind. Now, the only thing that you might have to worry about is, yes, with a hole deployment, sometimes when you are going into cardboard and you're not going up here, you're going back here with a blade, you can get caught on that hole. It's just the nature of the beast. But I will take that sacrifice every day of the week because I love the hole deployment so much. So I've got a little piece of the twisted sisal rope, which of course is a very abrasive material. Let's see how it cuts that. Boom. So it gives a lot of knives a little bit of a hard time. It sliced through this like it was nothing. And guys, whenever I do that test with that, I always say that sometimes it's me and sometimes it's the knife. The blade stock thickness on this is not ridiculous. It's not super thin, but it's not ridiculous. It's just, I think it's in that perfect range of being super slicey, but also super tough. You have a blade stock thickness at the top, you know, where you don't have the most dainty tip, but it's not so thin that I'm going to worry about breaking it off, but it's not so thick that I'm worried about, you know, why is it that thick? This is one of those knives where I usually hold it in this saber grip, but I've also done this pinch grip to cut really detailed stuff out, like labels and stuff at work, which worked amazingly. I've actually, with this one, used the reverse draw cut when I was just cutting a little bit of like wood. And I mean, I wasn't like going crazy or anything, but I was just kind of slicing some wood back like this to show knife safety to my son whenever I was going back like this, cutting into you, you know, how you do that and whatnot. So that was like the first time I'd really cut with that particular grip, because most of the time I'm going this way. But very comfortable in that grip. Very comfortable in any grip that I put it in, really, even the ones that I don't ever use. But it's there. The ergonomics obviously are going to be good because it's a neutral handle, but it kind of has a Strider look, which Leon will tell you that those Strider knives, the S&G, the SMF, were a little bit of inspiration for making this knife, and this, I think, is a great size for most people's EDC. It's why it's called the EDC, you know, because it's bigger than like the Strider PT. I was watching my buddy Tyler's video. He did a video on this knife back whenever it was first released, like probably 5 months ago, from EDC Gear Reviews. Shout out to my boy Tyler. And he loves this knife. I think everybody that I've seen who's had this knife loves this knife, and I should tell you something, but you just don't see a lot of them on YouTube. But I hope that is about to change. I mean, I'm not an influencer at all. I just really, when I like something, I want to talk about it a lot more, because I don't have, like, let's say, like the guys at work who are not knife nuts like me, but they love knives, might not have the funds to purchase something. I carry a lot of knives, and I review a lot of stuff. These knives in particular are some of the favorites among non-knife people. The only difference being that non-knife people don't usually use a hold deployment, but whenever I show them the reverse flick, they're done, and that's all they want to do, because it's the best way to open knives. Don't get me wrong, thumb studs can work, but hold deployment, then thumb studs, then flipper is kind of where I go there. So anyway, I'm kind of rambling on. Let's go ahead and turn the camera around and show you some size comparisons of this knife. Get a little bit more specs, and then compare it to the other knives that I have in that price range or in that size range with a hold deployment, to get you a better idea of what I'm talking about and why these knives are my favorites in the collection ever. Let's do it. All right, guys. Sorry about the rambles. It's just, you guys, if you've watched my channel, you know when I'm really excited about a knife, I tend to do that. So here is the Field Duty EDC. Let's go ahead and put it in the circle so you get an idea. The size is not my typical as far as what I really get excited about, right? As far as the size, it is a very nice size. I would say typical EDC knife, you know, it's not as small as some of the other backup style knives. So this is one that I can carry as a primary and or a secondary, and of course fills those roles amazingly. So what is the overall size? The overall size of this thing is 7.5 inches with a 3.5 inch blade. Handle length is about 4 inches. It's about 140 thousandths on that thickness. Like I said, 13 thousandths behind the edge. And what does it weigh? So it's going to probably vary depending on the version that you get. This one is in carbon fiber, but you have G10. I'm not exactly sure what they measure, but these weigh 3.35 ounces, and you got a 3.5 inch blade. So the ounce per inch is met, and nobody can complain about that. You have a little bit of width here, but it's not crazy when you compare it to something like the Para 3. As you can see, it's very Para 3 size on the handle or the close length. And then once you open these guys up, you know, line these, you've got just a smudge longer of a blade on the Field Duty. Now you have, it looks like to me, when you're looking at it like this, you know, maybe a little bit more on the Para 3 as far as the cutting edge, the way they do their finger tool versus this one. I prefer this all day, every day of the week. I love this, that it's, not as... I love these two blade shapes. I love, like, this they call leaf shape. This is a spear point, and I just prefer this blade shape more than this one. Both of them work well. I think aesthetically, this one works better. I think it just looks... a lot of people say that this looks like a wounded bird. I get it, even though I love Spyderco. Love this spear point blade and the fact that it has the nice stone washing on it. As far as your fit and finish coming out of Rehat, there is no better fit and finish really for a production knife. Everything rounded off, everything done, and the transition that you have on this monoblock construction is almost non-existent for the transition between the carbon fiber and the titanium. Such a comfortable knife, even up here in the areas where is usually sharp, has been knocked down and chamfered, as you can see right there. There is just no spots on this knife that causes any discomfort at all. It feels like it's molded to your hand, and like I said, I've got big hands, guys, so yes, the backed up grip is still comfortable for me, but I really prefer this one, and I think that even with my large size hands, it works wonderfully, and if you have smaller hands, it's going to work even better, in my opinion. So yeah, really love that. Let's go ahead and put it up against another Rehat made knife that I really enjoy as far as the action, just like the Field Duty, but yes, even this the F5.5, the Field Duty EDC knocks it out of the park. Now, this one is very special to me because it was a gift from Lefty EDC and modded by BJ Hill. So this one is a very special knife to me. But as far as the action and the detent, this is about the second best on this size range for me, but it is not near as good as the Field Duty EDC. It's snappy, but not as snappy as this. I like the hole size better. I liked the blade size on this one versus this. I like the finger control. BJ Hill had to extend this out to be able to have room for my fat fingers versus on the Field Duty. It has a very generous troll and just makes it so much more comfortable for me. But Lefty extended this out for me because he knew how much I like this knife, and he is such a freaking awesome dude. We're not gay, but I love him. So let's go ahead and put it up against the other Liong Mah designs that I have in the collection. Here it is against its big brother, the Field Duty. So yes, the Field Duty is a big boy, as you can see. It's a big knife, but it is one of the most wonderful high-end production knives that you will find on the market. It's a bold statement, guys. I get it, but I really feel that strongly about this knife. You have a little bit more going on with this version, and yes, it is going to be more expensive than this, but well worth it. All day, every day, you need to get one of these in your hand, and you will find out you'll know what I'm saying once you put it in hand. Kevin Lefty EDC, once he put this knife in hand when I brought it to Blade Show, this was the knife he bought at Blade Show because he liked it so much. I'm telling you, he's the detent diva. So if he just raves about this, then you know it's good. Just saying. And then here it is against the larger of the three. Here is the Koof 4.0. It's the big boy. So as you can see, this is a very nice EDC-able size blade. The weight's there. The blade length is there. The cutting edge might throw some people off if you are one of those, that really wants a lot of cutting edge. But this has enough cutting edge for me to do the tasks that I need to do on a daily basis, and even then some. Because it's titanium and carbon fiber, but the build quality is so wonderful that it feels just sturdy as hell in the hand. I haven't had to do anything to this knife. It came perfectly centered, and I'm telling you, it's just freaking awesome. So I don't really know what to say about it. I just want everybody, I'm going to leave his website down below. And if you have it, I'm telling you, if you get one of these and you're disappointed, I want to know. Because I just don't think you're going to be, guys. I know that the price is not the most appealing. This one being $369, the G10 being at $309. I get it. However, it's a different experience, I'm telling you, than most other knives that you have put in your hand at that price range and the materials used. It's a different experience altogether because of the detent. This is the industry standard for me, these two knives, the industry standard for detent now. Like, if it doesn't have this kind of detent, I don't like it as much. Now, granted, guys, you know that I love this knife right here, and the detent in action on this is superb. But if I still had to choose for which one is better, it would be this guy, the Liong Mah Designs Field Duty. And then for that kind of action, and then for any other action on a smaller EDC style knife, yeah, okay, you've got the compression lock. I love the compression lock, but nowhere near the snappiness that you get out of this guy on deployment. And yep, you fall and then you shake. That's all you have to do. So it really depends on personal preference. I'm just saying that I would not ever buy a Spyderco, save up and buy one of these now that I know, right? Because you guys know I'm a Spyderco fan. I've got 4 Spydercos now, I guess. I mean, I've had tons. But as far as the whole deployment and action, just can't beat it, man. Just can't beat it. I'm sorry. You guys are like, shut the fuck up. And I am. I really appreciate you guys for stopping by and checking these out with me. This Field Duty EDC is a keeper and highly recommended as far as a EDC knife. If you want any of these bad boys, I can highly recommend it. Whatever design appeals to you, you will not be disappointed at all. If you are, contact me. I want to know about it because that's how strongly I feel. Anyways, guys, I really appreciate stopping by. Leon, you are the man. I really enjoyed meeting you if you watch this. And stay safe, guys, in this freaking crazy world that we are living in. And we will see you in the next one.